What's going on, guys? Rebel Tanker, and welcome back to Axis and Allies 1940. This is turn 4 for the Axis powers. Alright, so going right into it. Excuse me, we'll start with combat. Like as always, we're starting with combat. We'll start, since we're already looking at Russia, we'll look into Russia. First, the Germans launched a big offensive into Belarus with their 6 tanks here, and I forgot to put all these aircraft up here in the north. They're actually here in Novograd. I forgot to put them on an army card because I was planning to do that, but I'll just do this for now, just so that way I at least can show that they're kind of in and around there. So they attacked. What was in there again? There were 2 Soviet infantry here in Belarus. The Germans swept them aside without losing any casualties. Next, the Germans with the Italian artillery came into Bessarabia and secured that. And that was pretty much it for the Germans on the Eastern Front. Now we'll come down to the Mediterranean. Italy did attempt a throw of the dice to attack Egypt, and this is what remains. The Allies got very lucky in their dice rolls in the defense. So, after one round of combat, the Italians were able to destroy 5 Allied infantry, while in the counterattack, the Allies rolled... They rolled 9 altogether, so 6 infantry, a mech, and 2 artillery were lost for the Italians. And then the Italians retreated back in Alexandria with 2 infantry and 2 tanks and 2 fighters. They had also brought in their bomber from Italy down and landed it in Greece. The Allies here in Egypt still have 3 British infantry units, 1 French, 2 artillery, a mech, a tank, 2 British fighters, and a French fighter. And that was it for the Mediterranean. So before I go over to the Pacific, I'll just go over the non-combats real quick. So the Axis moved a good chunk of their air force and staged them here in Greece. Germany and Italy are moving units forward to the Russian front. And then that was pretty much... and then Germany took an infantry from Viborg onto their transport here and brought it back to Norway. Italy didn't really have much for non-combats. So now we will go over... Well, I can go over their purchases real quick since we're still on this side of the board. Nah, we'll try and keep it in... Well, didn't really keep it in order already, so... Okay. So purchases... Germany had 52 to spend. They bought an infantry for Normandy, and then bought 2 fighters and a tactical in Berlin. At the end of the turn, they collected 43 plus 10 for bonuses. However, they were convoyed for 2 up in Norway, so at the end of the turn, they collected 51. Italy had 18 to spend. They bought 3 infantry in southern France, 3 infantry in northern France and northern Italy, and then at the end of the turn, they collected 16. So, wait. 1 second. Yes, they collected 16 IPC. Let me double check that. Yes, collected 16 IPC. Alright, so now we'll go over to the Pacific. So we'll start with China. We'll start in the China theater. The Japanese came down and attacked the lone British tank here in Szechuan. They killed that. The tank was able to get a hit, though. So, unfortunately, a tank was lost for the cost of an infantry. Japan finished up the conquest of all of China, as far as all of Western China. Then the Chinese, with 3 tanks and a lot of their aircraft, attacked Hong Kong. They destroyed the 2 Far East Command infantry there, but they also took hits. So Japan lost 2 infantry, lost 2 tanks on that attack there. And then finally, the coup de grace for the Japanese. The Japanese launched the invasion of Hawaii. They got offshore bombardment from these 4 cruisers and 2 battleships. Kind of lucky for the Americans, all 4 cruisers missed. However, the battleships were able to pick up the slack, and they killed 2 of the 4 American infantry that were defending the island. And then, after 1 round of combat, the Americans lost their remaining 2 infantry. They lost a mech and an artillery, while killing off 2 Japanese infantry. And so, unfortunately for the Americans, they have lost the Hawaiian division, but that's okay, because it can come back, like I said, it can come back into the game as the 24th Infantry Division later on. So, with the taking of Hawaii, that definitely hurts the American war effort, definitely sets it back, especially since it destroyed the American fleet here around the islands originally. So, the Americans are going to have a tough call with this game, considering what they might have to. The Americans have a tough call because now they either have to almost have to fully commit to the Pacific, or they have to try and stabilize everything with splitting their IPC between the Pacific and Europe. All right, purchases, and I didn't do this for Japan, so I will remember to do it. For purchases this turn, Japan had 41 to spend. There are supposed to be 3 tanks in Shanghai. I will drop those off camera. And then they bought another fighter and a cruiser for Japan. Oh, crap. Non-combats. Non-combats, they had 2 destroyers, brought them to Hawaii. They moved all their air force here back to the Philippines, consolidated their air force here in eastern China. And then, then they purchased a fighter and cruiser in Japan, and then 3 tanks in Shanghai. At the end of the turn, Japan collected 42, plus 1 saved, plus 5 for bonuses, so Japan will have 48 for next turn. All right, well, that is going to be it for the Axis, and we'll see you guys next time for the Allies on turn 4. So until then, guys, as always, take care.